Gentlemen, welcome back to the channel for my returning subscribers, and those of you who've been messaging me asking where I am, why I'm not making videos, what's going on. I had to step away and basically put my YouTube channel on the shelf because I was putting my wife through nursing school. Sometimes when you're married, you gotta do things for your spouse and make sacrifices for the betterment for both of you. So that's what I was doing. And I basically shrunk my budget down to nothing for running a firearms related YouTube channel. And now that it's over, I can say we're in a lot better position. So that's where I've been, that's why I wasn't making videos. But nonetheless, we are back. So for my new people, this is my main squeeze 10-3 rifle. Today we're going to be going over kind of its setup, why I have certain parts. And for my returning subscribers, you're going to see some of the upgrades and modifications that I've made since my last video with this rifle. Now, if you're not familiar with my channel, I launched my channel with a video on this rifle a little over a year ago. And this rifle was basically put together in the beginning of 2020 when I started getting real serious about my shooting and my gear in general. Starting off with the muzzle, I'm running my M4SD2 suppressor. This is going to be a full-size 5.56 can. Basically, I went with this suppressor because I really like the philosophy behind Griffin Armament's gate lock system. Now, what their gate lock system is, unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to really show you on camera anymore because of YouTube's stupid suppressor rules. But basically, their gate lock system allows it to mount up to any A2 style flash hider. That segues into the first actual change I've made on the rifle since my initial video. Is going to be my muzzle device. Now originally I was running the A2 style bird cage that they had from Griffin Armament. It was basically just an A2 flash hider. This is their M4 flash compensator. Compensator being used kind of loosely. This isn't a compensator, it's really just like an elongated flash hider, and it has basically what amounts to another baffle that's right here in the muzzle device. And basically, for all intents and purposes, what it's allowing it to do is act as a extra baffle in your suppressor, which theoretically is supposed to increase the longevity and life of your can. How important is that? I'm not too sure, but seeing as how suppressors are basically a lifelong purchase for pretty much everyone, given the way the NFA laws are now, I don't think it's a bad idea to take steps to try to extend the life of your suppressors. Now, moving back from there, the barrel that it is attached to. This is a 10-3 Hansen profile barrel from Ballistic Advantage. I've had no issues with this barrel. I haven't actually sat down on the bench and shot groups and tried to see what it's actually grouping. However, I feel like I should mention that Ballistic Advantage guarantees 1 MOA or better with match grade ammunition, so not too bad. Again, this isn't the kind of rifle that I'm sitting on a bench and trying to group with it anyway. Two of the main selling points and reasons why I ended up going with the barrel is because one, it comes with a pin gas block from Ballistic Advantage. I think that's important on a serious use rifle. And also the feed ramps and barrel extension are nickel boron coated, which is going to help a little bit when your rifle starts getting dirty, at least theoretically. Now the rail. A lot of people are going to see this rail and think Daniel Defense Mark 18, which is, when I put it together, what I was going for, ironically. But at the time I didn't have the money, or I didn't feel like saving up the money to go ahead and purchase the Daniel Defense RIS 2, I think it is. So I went with the next best thing I thought, which was a Midwest Industries Combat T-Rail. Obviously you can see it's a quad rail, and it kind of looks the part, however, it's a little thick. This bottom section here, there's extra material that the actual Daniel Defense doesn't have. I've learned to love it. It doesn't bother me. If you are a severe AR autist, that might get on your nerves, but it's not an actual Daniel Defense rail. It's a Midwest Industries. Now, that being said, the lockup here is excellent. I've had no problems losing zero on my IR devices. If you are interested in using this rail for a build like this, Mark 18-ish, this is a 9.5-inch rail. It pairs up perfectly with a 10.3-inch barrel. There is a 10-inch rail. I don't know if you'd have enough clearance to get a muzzle device on here and a suppressor and everything torqued properly if you went with that 10-inch rail. So keep that in mind. My foregrip here, this is the BCM angled kinesthetic foregrip. I just like the way it feels in my hand. It lets me get my hand wrapped around here and pull the rifle into my body, maintaining the C-clamp. So that works for me, no issues with it. Now, one of the other things I upgraded on this rifle was the flashlight. Originally, I was running a Streamlight ProTac HLX, and I had no issue with it. It was a great flashlight. However, back when Surefire started adding mounts to their flashlight bodies that were integrated, it started to make a little more sense to me for as far as the price with going with Surefires. This is a Scout light. This is a M600, I believe. No problems with it other than it's kind of a large light for this rifle, so maybe in the future I'll be switching to a smaller light with a smaller footprint, less weight. Other than that, Surefire's excellent lights. I don't think there's too much I can say about Surefire lights. Now, the IR device. This is interesting because this is a Somo Gear PEC 15. So if you've been spending any amount of time on YouTube lately, you've seen these IR devices all over. It's a full power IR laser illuminator, and the reviews are kind of mixed. I've seen some people say that they're awesome. I've seen some people say that they don't hold zero and they're basically worthless. I've had limited time behind this one, so I can't really tell you how good it is as of yet. Before that, I was running my D-Ball A3, which was an excellent IR device in my opinion, at least for me. Some people say that these have a tendency to fall apart, but I never had any issues with it, so I don't know. Maybe I don't use my gear as hard as I think I do. Nonetheless, this is what I'm running on here as of now. Now, my upper receiver. My upper receiver I got from Thoroughbred Armament as a stripped upper for, I think it was a FN, if I remember correctly. I've had no issues with it. It's ran perfectly. It's an upper receiver. My bolt carrier. My bolt carrier is a little interesting. So this is the Sharps Rifle Company XPB bolt, which stands for Extreme Performance Bolt. It is a little bit pricey, coming in at about $230, I believe. Depending on what coating you get, it can be more or less. As you can see, it is absolutely caked in carbon. It's an excellent bolt carrier. I've had no issues with it. Some of the philosophy behind why I went with this is going to be, number one, the bolt and the carrier are going to both be made out of S7 tool steel, which boasts, I think, like a 15 to 30%, I forget what the actual number is, but 15 to 30% strength improvement over your standard Carpenter 158. So theoretically, it should last longer and get you to a higher round count without failure, especially in the actual bolt itself, which AR-15s are known to shear lugs at like I believe anywhere from 6,000 to 10,000 round mark. Also, it's going to segue into the next thing, which is going to be the bolt itself. This is their patented Reliabolt system. Basically, to me, it looks like the Knights Armament bolts from their AR-15s. You can see the bolt carrier's lugs are actually like radiused, and they're kind of cut back so they're not flat faced. That is supposed to enhance the reliability and longevity of the bolt itself. The coating. Their coating is their DLC coating, which stands for Diamond Light Carbon Coating, and it's like a 24-hour heat treating process which melds the coating to the carrier steel itself. And it's supposed to be slick and easy to clean, which I don't care what kind of material you use. Shooting a short barreled suppressed AR for extended round counts, you're gonna get cake. Excellent bolt carrier in my opinion. A while back I was seeing some negative reviews on Optics Planet. I don't know if it was a batch thing or just a slip in quality control, but this bolt carrier has been excellent, and I know several other people that use them, and they've been excellent for them as well. So highly recommend the Sharps Rifle Company bolt carrier for serious use rifles. Moving down from there, the lower receiver. The lower receiver is actually probably the cheapest part I went with on this AR-15. Kind of funny now, but at the time I thought it was pretty cool. This is a PSA property of US government M4 carbine marked lower receiver. So I don't know if you're gonna be able to see that on camera, but at the time I thought it was pretty cool. Now I kind of wish I just would have went with some other company or maybe a better manufacturer. But I'm of the belief that as long as your lower receiver is within spec, you shouldn't have any issues with it. Periodically, you should look at the wear pattern on the hammer, that being the part that's connected to your trigger that actually strikes your firing pin. If it's wearing on like one side or the other and it looks kind of uneven, you may have a lower receiver that's out of spec. Mine wears perfectly in the middle. I've had no issues with this lower receiver, and to date I think I've put maybe 3,000 rounds to this rifle and no issue. I know that's not the highest round count in the world, but I'm not fucking Grantham here. I don't have the time or resources to put tens of thousands of rounds through my fucking AR-15. So one of the main things that's held me back from SBRing this rifle is I don't want a PSA lower just attached to my name forever. Perhaps in the future, if I upgrade to maybe a better lower receiver, then I will go ahead and take the step to SBR it so I can run this thing properly with the stock, but for the time being, I haven't really had a reason to. Moving on from there, the trigger. The trigger is going to be the next quote-unquote major upgrade I've made to this rifle. Originally I was running a CMC competition single stage trigger. I think it was like a 2.5 pound pull weight or something crazy like that. Very slick trigger when it comes out of the box. One of the main issues I had with it was once it got really caked and coated in carbon, it would have a tendency to not want to reset. So that means when I pull the trigger, when I let off to, for my follow-up shot, it wouldn't reset. It would be pinned back to the rear. Now the problem would be alleviated as soon as I would open it up, scrub out the carbon, and kind of drop a little bit of lube on the springs. But I'm not gonna necessarily hold it against TMC. It was marketed as a competition trigger, and this isn't really a competition rifle, obviously. So I'm not gonna hold it against them. However, when I upgraded to a Geisley, this is gonna be the SD3G, which I know again isn't a duty trigger, but this trigger has been 100% flawless for like the 600-700 rounds or so I've put through it. And I gotta say, I understand now the hype behind the Geisleys. This trigger pull is on paper actually supposed to be heavier than the CMC, but actually pulling it, it feels lighter and crisper. I don't really know how to explain it other than to say like, this is like the slickest trigger I've ever had. So it's single stage. I like single stage on my assaulter style rifles, but basically no creep, and it just goes. Excellent trigger. I'm a huge fan of Geisley now. I like the flat face, obviously. So that's what I'm running now, and it is incredible. Super light, super fast, and it lets you pump fire like crazy. Moving back from there, this pistol grip. This is the Magpul MOEK. I like the vertical grip angle that it has, and I like how thin it is. Super skinny, allows me to really get my hand around it, and I like that. It makes me feel in control. Other than that, all the other lower parts in my lower are all mil-spec selector, mil-spec bolt catch, mil-spec mag release. The charging handle is a Radiant Raptor, just a standard one, not the SD for suppressor use. I've had no issues with it, so I've seen no real reason to upgrade it. Understand that shooting a short barreled AR-15 suppress, you're gonna have gas blowback. I don't care what you do, I don't care what kind of bolt carrier, what kind of charging handle, there's gonna be gas blowback. It's just one of the limitations of the DI system and its design. So either you wear a neck gaiter or a balaclava and wrap around shades like I do, or you're gonna deal with gas. So moving up from there, my optic system, we'll start with the riser I have first. This is the LaRue 5/8 inch riser. If you remember my initial video I made on this, I said that I was having issues getting behind my optic here for passive aiming with my night vision when it was directly mounted to the upper receiver. With my riser, I feel like it's made a little bit of a difference. I feel like I could still go a little bit higher and it would be even more comfortable for me to get behind with my night vision. But nonetheless, it has improved that. So it could be an issue with me. I know I have kind of a long neck. I'm about 6 foot, currently 240 pounds. And with my night vision, it's a little bit easier to get behind it like this now. That works pretty good. Now the optic itself is going to be a Vortex UH1 Generation 2, so this is their second iteration of this holographic sight. I've loved this thing since I got it. I also have an EOTech. Granted, it's not the night vision compatible EOTech, but at the time when I was configuring this rifle, this holographic weapon sight was roughly $150, $200 cheaper than the night vision compatible EOTech, so that's why I went with it. I really like it. I really like the reticle. The reticle has a triangle at the bottom of the little donut of death, which is basically supposed to be your aim point for up close shooting, so you can account for your height over bore. I found that it's like dead on 100% of the time, and I like it. So I've had no issues with it other than it is kind of a battery goblin. If you leave a battery in this for like months on end, when you go to pick it up and turn it on, I found that every now and then it will have eaten the battery. So no big deal, just be kind of proactive with your battery change. The magnifier, this is going to be the Vortex 3X magnifier. I don't know how much weight I'm saving, if any, with this setup over like a dedicated LBPO with a piggyback red dot, but in my opinion, short guns have always looked kind of weird with LPVOs on them, so I'm running this. Now, moving back to my buffer system, this is just a mil-spec buffer tube, no issues there. Inside, however, I'm running the Geisley braided 42 wire buffer spring. If you're not familiar, it's like 3 different strands of metal braided together to make a big buffer spring. Theoretically, it's supposed to be stronger, reduce that twang sound, which I think it actually does. I don't hear as much twang when I'm shooting this. and just be stronger and slow down the cyclic rate of a suppressed short barrel AR-15. Paired with that, I'm running the Geisley H3 buffer. I think if you're running a short AR-15 that's suppressed, at the very least you should be running an H3 buffer, if not a stronger spring as well, just to slow down your cyclic rate and not beat up your components in your AR. I've been running that pretty much the entire life of this rifle, and it's been excellent. Now the brace, I kind of touched on it before, but this is an SBA3, pretty standard there. A few months ago when the ATF was doing the brace bullshit, I kind of had to shelf this rifle, and I'm really glad that they reversed it because this rifle is my favorite rifle I own to shoot. It is incredibly pleasurable. Coming back to like a short AR after shooting like my recce rifle and my longer, heavier rifles, those never felt like bad, but compared to like this, they felt like fucking telephone poles. And like this rifle is just incredibly pleasurable to shoot. I know we all know that the longer barrel's giving you more velocity and better ballistics, but Sling. I am still running the T-Rex arm sling. It works perfectly for my rifles. I've had no issues with it. I've ran my AR-10, 6.5 Creedmoor AR-10 on this thing that's heavy. If you need a sling for cheap, T-Rex arm. With that being said, guys, if you're new here, please subscribe. I have some really cool videos that are going to be coming out here in the near future. If you're one of my returning subscribers, thank you. We have some cool stuff coming. I'm really excited to be making content again. I'm gonna try to make at least 2 to 3 videos a month, and just see where this all goes. So, thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.